Okay.
Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday evening. We are here for our migraine strategy call, just giving Facebook 1 second to catch up. Great. Looks like we are live. Wonderful. So we normally come to you Tuesday afternoons, but we have a special guest, actually 2 special guests this evening. Vici and Dennis have joined us to share with us their migraine freedom journey. So we have a special time this evening for those of you in the UK. Thank you so much for watching on the replay. Type a hashtag replay in to let us know that you're watching. We've had so many new people join this week, so let me do a quick intro. For those of you who are brand new, I'm Debbie Waidl. I am a certified functional health coach, migraine specialist, here to help you find your migraine freedom by reducing the severity, duration, and frequency of your pain in a natural way so that we can get you off of those medications that are actually keeping you stuck. Every week we come to you with a different strategy call. And as I said, this week we are fortunate to have Vici and Dennis join us so that we can hear what it's like on both sides. Because as we know, migraines don't just impact the person that's having them. They really impact the whole family. You know, yes, it's worse, in my opinion, for the one who has them, you know, because of the pain you have to go with. But I know that it's very difficult to watch a loved one be in pain and to not know what to do to end that. So thank you both of you for being here today. I really appreciate you giving your time back to the group.
Sure.
Wonderful. Well, let's dive right in while everybody's popping on. Let's start with just a quick overview. Tell me really quick about your migraine freedom journey so everybody knows where you're coming from here.
Okay. So I started having headaches when I was a teenager. I didn't really think it was anything major. I thought I was just kind of a wimp. You know, there's nobody in my family that has headaches. My mom doesn't have them. My sister doesn't have them. My aunt, my grandma, nobody had them. So I just thought, this is weird that I have these really terrible headaches. And it wasn't until I was about 19 that I was diagnosed with migraines, you know, and then off and on for years, you know, I get one here or there. They were pretty debilitating, but they weren't constant. But they were more like, or I had more nausea and stuff like that. And then I just got to the point where I was having them a lot more, but they weren't as severe, which seemed really odd. And so I think that's when I really just started, you know, seeing physicians and trying different treatments, trying different prophylactics, trying different rescue meds, you know, seeing all sorts of doctors, neurologists, PCPs, you know, whoever. But probably in the last 4 years or so, they got really, really severe where I was ending up in the emergency room. Took an ambulance ride one day in an ice storm because I got up and I got to the bathroom and I couldn't move. And I luckily had my phone with me and I called him and he came running and was like, what's going on? And I'm like, I can't move. And so I think that's when we both just kind of looked at each other and were like, what is going on? So, you know, just kept trying the meds and, you know, trying to read, you know, I think people with migraines are really smart and they're very resourceful. And so you just tend to read and read and read and read and read. And I'll read this book and someone says, oh, well, I heard this about migraines. You should read this book or you should read this article. And I work in the medical world. So there's lots of people that have advice, you know, in that manner. So, but, you know, I was just getting to the point where I was just taking medicine every day. None of the prophylactics were helping. I was missing a lot of work, which, you know, then was stressful too, on top of having the headaches and all of that. So, yeah, so then that brought me to June of last year. And that's when I found your group. And I guess we'll get into that later.
Absolutely. So, Dennis, what was it like? You know, have you always known Vici with migraines? And just tell me a little bit about what it's like to actually have to see Vici day to day in that pain.
Yes and no. I mean, we've known each other about 12 years. And so she's always had them, but I feel like they got a lot more severe in the recent past. When we first met, you know, I didn't know anyone that had migraines previously, and heard of them, but really didn't know anything about them. And so she would say she's having a bad headache day. I just, I thought, well, take another Tylenol and you'd be fine. I really didn't know what that meant.
The one thing that makes all of us cringe when someone says that. You just made
Right.
everybody shiver that's watching
Yeah.
right now that has a migraine.
Yeah.
You're being
And,
honest.
yeah.
And no, I appreciate it.
But obviously I learned quickly, and it just seemed like as we the last few years, like she already alluded to, it just got worse and worse. And there'd be days or 2 days that she'd be down, and I felt horrible. I can't do anything, like you kind of said earlier. I couldn't do anything to help. Didn't know where to start, what to do, and just had to sit here and watch her be miserable. And so that's why, as she was out looking for anything that might help, I was willing and 100% willing to try it to, get her any sort of relief.
Absolutely.
But it's been a quick learn for me, because like I said, I really hadn't dealt with it previously. So.
Yeah, well, and I love the fact, Vicky, you found us obviously through scrolling on Facebook, just came across, because we love that how Big Brother's out there watching and pays attention to what you're reading and what you're looking at. And as you said, you've done so much research, you've looked at so many things, and it is no different than the 2,600 women in this group. You guys are probably the best researchers out there, but the problem is what material you have to research isn't helpful, because it's just kind of written for the average person, and you're all unique, and everybody comes to the table with different health issues, different pasts, different needs, and trying to decipher all that makes it very difficult. So you saw the you saw my ad, and you decided to hop on a call with me. So what made you to decide, because you both actually came on the call together, what made you decide to give this a try and to do something different?
I think for me, I don't usually talk about stuff until I'm really ready for it, or have just completely invested. And so I didn't say anything to him when I found the Women's Migraine Freedom Group. I just, I watched a couple calls, did some digging around on the site, just to be like, what's going on here? Because, like you said, I've just read a ton, I've researched a ton, and I'm like, what's different about this? So I, then you and I set up a call. And so then I was like, how do I tell him that I have this call set up with this health coach, who specializes in women with migraines, and like, how can this really be a thing? How is there, somebody out there that actually knows how to deal with this? So I just said to him one day, I was like, so I was kind of looking on Facebook, and I found this group, and, and I explained what I had read, and, just some of the comments. And I felt like one of the things that was really, really evident to me from being in WMF was just the support of people, people realizing like, I am not alone in this, it's kind of one of those things when you meet somebody that has migraines, you're like, oh, you have migraines too, like you have this instant bond with them because they get it. And so, so I said to him, hey, I set up this call, and what do you think? And he's like, okay, he's just like, we got to do something. It's just can't live like this the rest of my life. And so for me, it was about investing in myself, which I'm not really good at doing, like really, really taking time for myself. And I knew it was going to be hard work, that I was going to have to make some changes. But that in the end, it really was, what am I not going to lose? It's really like, what am I going to gain? And that, to me, I had to look at it that way. And not only did I gain all this knowledge, but I also gained this whole network of people who understood. And I just think that's one of the unsaid benefits. I don't know if you tout it enough in your advertising, actually, but the support is just, it's top notch. And I think it's really hard to quantify that. But I think when you suffer with something like this, having that support network, just, it means the world. And, if you're in the program, you have this weekly call. In the first couple of weeks after I was out of the program, on Tuesdays, I would like look around like I felt like something was missing. That week, it took me a couple of weeks to be like, oh, it's Tuesday. Oh, I'm not going to the call. And so,
Yeah.
I appreciated that, that support. I mean, I just think it's a benefit of the program that it's hard to quantify.
I love that you say that, because I do think many women, most of you feel that way when you are in the program, because you just want that sense of belonging, feeling normal. And there's so many doctors, or people that have told you, not picking on dentists, but the comment of, we'll just go take a Tylenol. Why won't it go away? Because you don't understand unless you live it,
Right.
And Dennis, you have spent that time to understand. So you are definitely 100% there and being supportive, which makes a huge difference. It really does make a huge difference in the success that you've had, Vici, when you have that support. But it is so easy when you don't understand to kind of be on the outside. So when you have somebody who really is feeling everything, it takes a village, right? It takes a village. I can bring the knowledge to you, you can do the work, but having that village around you really brings that, all the pieces together. So
And,
that's fantastic.
I think one of the things too is that there's like no judgment. I tried this crazy thing. I tried this crazy thing. Not crazy, but I tried this and this and this, and nobody in the group makes you feel like, well, that was dumb. Why'd you try that? Because everybody's just like, we're just all trying to not be in pain anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And if that idea had been out there and they'd seen it, they probably would have tried it too. If they hadn't already. So
Right.
like the cream of tartar that everyone always talks about, cream of tartar will cure migraines and all of the other, wonderful things that people ask me, will this work? No, it won't. Because that's the thing that makes it hard, right? Is it's not one thing.
Right.
Like, I'm sure you can attest, Vici, you didn't come into the group and change one thing that brought you migraine freedom.
No.
We break everything down into 11 modules, and each one of those modules, I'm sure you made changes in, and some of them might've been small and some of them might've been big, but that's what makes it unique.
Right.
And I do want you to share. I love that you shared. We chatted for a couple minutes before we popped on this call. When you did your modules, Dennis, you were there. So you weren't doing this alone.
Right.
What kind of a difference did that make in your house doing that?
I'm gonna let him answer.
I didn't, because of the timing, and I couldn't listen to the calls. I think I watched or listened to parts of them after the fact, because she said, oh, you might want to listen to this segment. So there was a few I listened to, but doing the modules gave me a way to kind of be involved and hear firsthand what the advice was and what the idea was behind it, and why are we talking about making this change. And so it gave me an in-depth understanding, instead of her just saying, guess what, we're going to do this, or I'm going to try this. It was us doing it together, and we both had the same, I guess, understanding and basis for why. So it made it hopefully easier, I think, to stick with it, try it, stick with it, and see it through, to see the results. So.
Absolutely, because then it becomes like a lifestyle change, right? Instead of something that you're doing for a short term and you're torturing yourself with, you find ways to make this fit into your worlds and make it fit in so it's sustainable and getting you the results that you're looking for. And it sounds like you both got some wonderful results from it, not just migraines. Do you mind sharing some of the other health benefits that you found from the program?
For me, there were things that I didn't know were associated with my migraines, like just the constant neck pain. I bought every stupid pillow out there thinking that I had some sort of anatomical, issue going on with my neck. And it was just all my migraines. And I remember saying to you in our exit interview, like, I can't believe that my neck doesn't hurt all the time anymore. It's just crazy. Or, I didn't realize that the ringing in the ears was part of migraines. And but I think one of the things, and this is what we talked about before the call, is that like no more heartburn. When I turned 40, that was one thing I started noticing, is I started having more trouble with heartburn, and now I don't have any of that. And we were probably about 6 or 8 weeks in, and I just looked at him one day and I said, I don't have any heartburn anymore. And he said, neither do I. And I was like, this is great. I'm still working on my headaches, but just to not have that thing to contend with too was huge. Just lots of little things that you don't realize are all kind of connected.
Yeah, because we think about it as head pain, right? Head
Right.
pain or nausea or the auras. I think those are the big things. I
Right.
actually probably should have asked Dennis before I said that, but someone maybe on the outside who doesn't know migraines as well, I think those are the 3 things that they come up with right away. You have stabbing, head pain, you must be nauseous, and you've got the aura, and you must have a migraine. Otherwise, it's just a headache, right?
Right.
But there's so many other things that go along with it.
Mhm.
And I think that there's so many women in the Women's Migraine Freedom group right now that don't realize how good they can feel because they felt this way for so long.
Yeah, you just get accustomed to it, right? And you shouldn't be accustomed to it. You should say, this isn't okay, and I don't want to be like this anymore. And am I going to live the next, however many days I have left feeling like this? No, I don't want to do that.
No. Yeah, but we normalized it. And I think in America anyway, I know it's a little different in the UK because they do the advertising a little different, but in America, we so normalize all our dysfunctions, right? Can you sit down and watch TV at night without seeing a medication commercial?
Right.
You can't. And it
Right.
shows, somebody eating a pizza, drinking a beer, but here is your magic pill that'll make it better.
Right.
So, making us think it's okay to feel that way. But it's not. So we're so glad that this program has brought you, the other health benefits on top of it, because it's an overall health program. As I said, to you guys before, it's not sexy to say it's an overall, overall health and fixing your health, but really that's what we're doing. It's not just freedom from migraines. It is the freedom to live your life as healthy as you can be.
Right.
So when you started the program, how were your migraines then compared to how you are now?
So, back then I was taking prescription medicine probably at least twice a day. I'm counting my pills till my next refill, which is not an okay way to be. For me, it was just stressful, You're just like, I can't run out of medicine, or my head hurts. I don't want to take it because I'm going to run out, it's a terrible way to live.
Yeah.
It's so stressful. And so, it took me about 8 weeks to really see a lot of changes. I told you this, I was, I went through some frustrating periods in the beginning. I felt like I was making some changes, and we were talking about it a lot and everything, but it took about 8 weeks before I started really noticing the differences. And really the first thing that happened was just severity was a lot less.
Yep.
And then I started noticing no more ear ring, no more neck pain, no more, and then I got to the point where, I'd go a few days with no medicine, or maybe I would feel kind of crummy and, maybe take an aspirin or something. But, an aspirin doesn't make you all goofy and stuff, like all that other medicine. And, and I just kept thinking, it's not good to be dumping all this medicine in my body. I'm not solving the problem. I'm not getting to the core of the issue. And so working through the program and the modules really helps to kind of boil away some of that and just really start working on the core issues. And, like you said, for everybody, it's different. I can remember being in group and, some people are like, hey, I worked on this module and I really made a big difference for me. For me, it was, I needed to make a little change in everything to get there.
And that's the most common, it really is most common. And it's also the most frustrating, because I think when you join the program, even though it's a 4-month program, I think we all join and we want those results really quick. We want to see those changes really quick. We want to know that your investment was worthwhile. And it doesn't always happen that way. We've had people hit week 16, and at week 16, they're like, finally. It's like, well, it's because we worked through each module and we had to make tweaks in every area. And then you get there, where there's other people 2 weeks in, we're pain free. And then, you know, there are some people that, you know, at 4 months, they have all the tools that they need. Their body's still working on healing. We've reduced the severity, duration, and frequency, knowing that we still have a little bit more work to do, but that's time, you know,
Right.
because the
Right.
body doesn't, just because you stop doing things to it that aren't helpful, it doesn't mean the body heals like that. You know, your body does need time. It's an amazing machine and can heal itself, but it's just like anything else where it needs time. So, so you were taking, you know, 2 meds a day, you were having migraines. How often were they? Almost daily, obviously daily, that you had, you know,
Every day.
some level of pain.
Mhm.
Where are you now?
You know, I still have them every once in a while. But I had a little trouble last week and I couldn't really figure out why, but you know, this week I've been doing fine. So, you know, now it's, if I get one, I mean, I'm not down for the count. I mean, if I do feel like I need to take something, it takes a very, very minimal amount to help me, which is good, because before I was just like, you know, 2 or 3 times a day and having multiple different medicines and kind of having them try to work together to get rid of the pain, but I wasn't solving any problems. You know, I was just waiting till the next day to wake up with another one. You know, I mean, it's just is a merry-go-round.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And we are
So, you know,
definitely, oops, I'm sorry,
Go
I keep
ahead.
getting feedback in my ear. We're definitely not anti-meds in this group, but what
Right.
we are is knowing that you have to be on medication for life and that you have to really rely on it to be able to live day to day, which is definitely what you were doing and is what so many women in this group do, where they're just like, okay, I have to look at my calendar. What are the important days this month? I have to make sure I save meds for those days.
Right.
And then the other days, okay, I'll figure it out when it comes. But, you know, I'm sure there were times that maybe you wanted to take a trip, you know, the 2 of you wanted to go away, or, you know, things like that, where migraines got in the way of that. And maybe you did have to stockpile your meds to be able to get through those. Because that
Yeah,
happens so often.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, we went on vacation right before I found the group. And I just remember and I was putting up some pictures on, you know, Facebook the other day of our trip. And I just thought that was a different person in those pictures, you know. I mean, just how we planned our trip, what we did, what we didn't do. You know, I just like kind of looked at those pictures and I was like, that just seems like so long ago.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that, because now hopefully when you go on a trip, obviously you'll still probably, you know, take some of your things
Sure.
just in case, because, you know, you are so new out of the program. And again, it does take time to heal, but it doesn't sound like you're going to have that, you know, chain, that migraine, you know, being at the
Right.
other end of really holding you back. You know,
Right.
you've got control, because that's the sad thing, is many of the women in this group right now, migraines are in control, whether, you know, the people listening want to agree with me or not. If you're taking medications and you're counting your meds and you're still researching online and trying to figure out how to end your pain, they're in control, not you.
Right.
But that's what we try to give you in this program, is we give you your control back.
Yeah.
And you grabbed it and took it and ran with it.
Right. It took a while.
Well, and think about the timing though, you know, so you had migraines for decades, right? Then we talk about that, about 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And in 4 months, look what you changed.
Right. Right.
And now you're going to have another, you know, 4 or 5 decades, you know, however long. I plan on living to 100. I don't know how long you plan on living to, but
I don't know. People in my family only make it to about 80. So we'll see.
I don't know. You're pretty healthy. You're pretty healthy now. Look at all the changes that you've made and how healthy you are. And that's what matters. I want to live to 100 and be very productive in my hundreds, but
Yeah.
you know, so you have many decades to go that now you can enjoy them, instead of knowing that 365 days a year you had some pain. So Dennis, tell me, what does life look like different now? How is it different than it was when we first met?
Well, that's part of it. I think, you know, there were a lot of trips I thought about taking or planning, or, you know, one of her favorite bands or groups, you know, if they're nearby, maybe leave for the weekend and go see the show, and those kinds of things. I just would never pull the trigger on that, because
Mhm.
all that money and time and planning, and then we can't even leave the house. So
Yeah.
that type of thing is gone. If we wanted to take a trip or you know, plan something, I wouldn't have that worry. So that's a big thing. You know, I think we're getting bad time of the year with the winter and it's really cold, but you know, we're trying to be more active and get out and do things and be in the community versus hiding at home, lights out, you know, and she's in bed and watching something else on Netflix or, you know, whatever. So it's really, I think, given us our life back in the sense that we can actually just live instead of sitting here waiting for time to pass and hopefully the pain to go away for a little bit. So
yeah, and that's the worst, you know, and that ends up making the pain worse, right, Vicky? Because now you're stressing over it. You know, if the two of you plan something, you know, he's worried that you're not feeling well, you know, he's disappointed you can't do it, and there's nothing you can do but you can't make the pain go away. At least for me, I swear that made things worse, you know, when I felt like I was letting somebody down, you know, because everything was revolving around my head. You know.
Yeah, you know, we have a blended family, and you know, there were times that I definitely felt bad that, you know, my stepkids were like, you know, if they were around, you know, teenagers aren't around much, but when they were
Yeah.
around, I'd be like, where's Vicky? And oh, she's in bed, you know, and you know, I felt bad that I wasn't able to spend. My kids are growing and out of the house. So when these got really bad in the last few years, they didn't really have to contend with that. But you know, there were times that my stepkids really, you know, they felt like, oh, we need to be quiet. Oh, we need to do this. Oh, we need to do that. You know, and I felt bad that they just couldn't do what they wanted to do, and that, you know, teenagers actually wanted to spend time with their parents, you know, and then you're not there. So
I know when they want to spend time with you, you just want to grab onto it, hold on
right.
to every moment.
Mhm.
And I think this kind of leads me to my next point, and we had talked about this a little bit before too. I think this is why so many women really hide how they're feeling.
Sure.
You know, you two definitely seem to have a relationship where you've talked about it quite often. I can tell, you know, you're here today, Dennis, you were here on the first call, you're doing the modules with Vicky, you know, you guys were really working on this as a unit, but there's so many women out there that for whatever reason, and maybe part of the reasons you just said, you know, they don't want to disappoint the family, or they want to be there, but they hide how they're feeling, and they use medication to try to push through the day. And they, you know, buy into all these quick fixes and gadgets because they're trying not to miss their life. But they just don't realize there's a better way. So no one in this group needs to hide how they're feeling anymore. You feel like crap, tell us. We will help you. You don't need to feel like crap anymore. I was going to use a different word, but I don't know how many kids might be watching if it's close to bedtime and they're running around. During the day, I don't feel as bad having my potty mouth, but maybe more kids around tonight. So your results are amazing. It is great to see both of you. So share with me, what piece of advice would each one of you like to give to the women that are watching right now? If you had to leave them with something, you know, give them something that would really help them move forward, what do you want to tell them?
You know, for me, I think women naturally are just more the caretakers and don't want to be taken care of. And so when you're down with migraines all the time and all that, and it's stressful on your family, that, you know, that also weighs on you maybe when you don't have a bad headache, you know. I think, you know, I think you just have to look yourself in the mirror and just say that you're worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100%
I think I
agree.
get weepy. Darn it, Debbie, you make me cry.
I don't mean to. I seem to have that effect on people. I don't mean to.
I'm not really a crier very much, but you know, I think it's really hard for us sometimes to look in the mirror and just say, you know what, you are worth it. You're worth the time. You're worth the expense. You're worth, you know, all the things that need to happen. And, you know, and you're worth it. And I think sometimes it's hard to do that because we're such caretakers. And that's one thing that I really appreciated about the group too, not them poo-pooing men, but I liked that it was just women, because I felt like in a group full of just women, they're a little bit more free to really say how they're feeling and what they think. And maybe if there are men in the group, that wouldn't happen. Not that there aren't men with migraines, because I do know men with migraines, but
Mhm.
you know, I appreciated, you know, just being women in the group.
Yeah, well, and just to say, I do work with men. I work with men on the side,
Okay.
but I purposely, and kids, you know, as I mentioned to you before, we have a couple kids that we work with, but I work with them separately because I really do believe that this community needs to be a place that you can talk about women thing. You know, Dennis does not want to hear about perimenopause and
No.
menopause. He just really has no desire. He would, if he had to, sit there and support you, I know, and listen. But if he had his druthers, he'd really just rather listen to the modules, get to the part he needs to know, and be there and be supportive for you. And I
Right.
think it's important to have that safe space where we can do that. And we've really created a very unique community. I know I may have mentioned this on some coaching calls, but probably no one in the Women's Migraine Freedom Group knows. I'm also in a group with like 300 or 400 other coaches. And we talk on a weekly basis about, you know, the different people we support and help, and we help each other do that. And nobody has a group like this. They just don't. You know, their groups are quiet. They don't talk as much. I don't know why, but we have purposely worked very hard at fostering this community where you all do feel like it's your second family, which is what makes it so hard every single time somebody graduates. And now we have people graduating every single week. So every single week I get to cry because I had to say goodbye to 5 people today. And it's just not easy because we do spend so much time together, daily basis, weekly basis, messaging. You know, I feel like I become a part of your families, you know, so it's just like sending kids off when they get married. You know, that's your goal, is you want to raise them to be independent children, but it also breaks your heart at the same time when they go.
Right.
So,
well, and you know, I mean, I know lots of Debbies, but you know, pretty much when I say Debbie now, Dennis knows I'm talking about you. So, you know, yeah, I mean, just like, well, yeah, this was on the site, or Debbie said this, or okay, he knows exactly what I'm talking about in the context. And so, you know, that's really good.
yeah, I love it. I love it. All right, Dennis, what would you say to that gentleman that's watching this video who's going, I don't really know if I want to spend that kind of money. I don't think this is going to work. She found her on Facebook, you know, it's just some crazy lady out there. What would you say?
Yeah, that was my initial thought too. What is this? And, you know, are we gonna be pushed to buy the Debbie vitamins, or, you know, the whatever it was?
Yep.
And, you know, I found after we talked to you, I don't know if you remember or if it's common, but we actually kind of hung up and then called you back 10 minutes later or something like that. And that time was spent with me trying to convince her that we needed to do this, because she didn't want to spend the money. She didn't want to, you know, she just, like she already mentioned it, she just didn't want to spend that on herself. And I felt after talking to you, you know, we had to take that chance. You couldn't pass up the opportunity. Where it was and where it is today is night and day. And, you know, before we started it, I just saw it getting worse and worse and worse. And for weeks, it was 2 or 3 days out of the week that she was out. And, you know, I don't know what else to say, and I'm extremely glad we did it, that she finally agreed to do it, and we committed 100%, 110%. And it was it one day out of the last 3 months maybe that she's been in bed and spent some time kind of down. It's just night and day, and it was 1,000% worth it. So
I love that. And I love the fact that you said you had to talk Vicky into doing it, because that's actually very common. And part of the reason why we always want a loved one on the call, one, is because we want to make sure that you get all the information that you need, you know, as a family unit, whether it's a parent on the call, a spouse, a partner, someone, you know, so that everyone gets all the information that they need and they understand how it's going to fit within a family household. But then the second reason, one of the main reasons is, you know, because Vicky brought it up first, that most of the women in this group are carers. And we do, put ourselves last. We have a very hard time. We have a lot of type A personality women in here too, very driven to keep going, to not stop, to push through the pain. And it's hard to think about slowing down, spending a little time and money on yourself. But then I think, Vicky, you probably realized very quickly being in the group, what a difference it made just by doing that, giving that to yourself, giving that time and that gift to both of you. You both gave a gift to each other because it is a financial commitment, a team of 6, daily support, coaching calls, unfortunately, we have to keep the lights on too. If I could give it all away, I'd give it away, because I don't want anyone to live this way. But that's why the Women's Migraine Freedom Group is free. We don't charge for anything that we do in there purposely to help as much as we can, for as many women as we can. So hopefully the group will just keep growing. And with the help of you guys showing up today to do this interview and share your experience, together we are going to drastically reduce that number of 1 in 4 women who suffer with migraines, and 1 woman at a time, bring it to destination 0. I might be 100 when I do it, but I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep doing it. And as I told you, hopefully we'll keep doing it with people a lot younger so that they don't have to go the decades like you did. We had a couple of people who commented. I was just trying to peek down while you two were talking. We got a couple of people who were tearing up during the talk. Barbie's on, Sandy's on, Kim is on. Everybody's just commenting. You'll have to go back and make sure to, oops, looks like I might have lost audio at one point in time. Sorry, Barbie, I didn't see that. Hopefully the replay is okay. Helen is watching, Julie's watching. Perfect. I guess it was just Barbie. I was going to say, I'll be really sad if we didn't get this recorded. But it looks like it was just a tech on the other end. But everybody's so agreeing with everything that you're saying and are thrilled that you came on to share your testimony. So before I let you guys go, any last words, anything else that you want to say that I make sure I give you time to say before I let you go?
I wanted to tell you just a little story.
Absolutely.
So I told you I just changed jobs. I was in one place. I left for a while and now I'm back in that same place. And one of the people that works there, I hadn't seen in about a year. And he knew that I, really struggled with migraines and was always checking on me and how are things going? And, just always very cognizant of my headaches and caring about me, not just as a colleague, but, as a person. And when I went back and I started my new job, he stopped by and gave me a big hug, I'm glad to see you back. And I said, I'm glad to be back. And he said, how are your headaches? And I don't know, I guess I just got this huge smile on my face. And he said, you just answered me. And he was like, what happened? And I said, and so I told him what happened, I said, I found this health coach who specializes in women with migraines. And I worked through this program and now I'm doing great. And he was just like, he was just stunned and he was so happy for me, but he was like, Vicky, the way your face just lit up. He was like, that was awesome.
You just gave me the chills like 3 times over.
Especially like for a guy to say that, to be like, he said, wow, you're glowing because you're so happy that you're not in pain.
Yeah, I often joke that, and I would never do this to any of you, because usually when you get on my first call, you're in massive pain, but I wish I could do the before and after photo, like they do for weight loss. I wish I could take the photo on your first call and then a photo like today and put them next to each other, because I see the difference and it's amazing, and it's not that it's a sickly look, but it is that look of pain. There is that massive look of pain. And you can just tell by looking at both of you throughout this whole interview that even when you weren't talking, you still have a glow behind you. You still have a smile behind you. You say something, he smiles, he says something, you smile, so this isn't a joke. You've gotten to where you want to be. So it's so amazing to see. And I can't thank you enough for sharing your story. Can you still hear me? My headphones just told me we're stopping. Okay. I got new ones for Christmas. You'd think they'd work, but I think they're just tired today. I think it's been a long day and they're telling me enough, we're done. But I really, really cannot thank you enough for coming on, because I know these interviews mean so much to so many people. And it's one thing for me to pop on and say, Yes, I can take care of your migraines. Yes, I can make them go away. But like, Dennis said, who are you when we first meet you? We don't know who you are. And we don't know if you just want my credit card number and you're going to go running away and do nothing, but that is not who we are. Yes, this is a business, 100%. Obviously, this is a business. This is what I do, but this is what I do 12 hours a day because I love it. And because I love doing things like this, because you will make me smile the rest of tonight. So thank you. Any last things you want to say, Dennis? I didn't give you a chance. Are you all good?
Nope, I am good. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Well, you two hang in there one quick second. Let me just say goodbye to everyone else. So everyone, thank you for joining this evening. I really appreciate you taking the time because I know, especially with migraines, your time is precious. So giving yourself this gift of listening to this interview is moving you one step closer to your migraine freedom. If we can help you in any way, shape, or form, Barbie is in the chat box right now. She's a member of my team. Please let her know what we can do to help support you. Reach out to me in Messenger. You do not need to live another life in pain. So let's figure out the best way to be able to support you to get to your migraine freedom. All right, everybody, we will see you next Tuesday back at our normal time at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be chatting with Paula next week. Paula is going to be sharing her migraine freedom journey with us. So make sure you join us to hear that, and we'll see you in the group. Have a great week, everybody.